Genesis Center for Spiritual Living. Good morning again, if you didn't hear me the first time. Let's please stand and sing our opening song, My Soul is Welcome Here.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Okay, it's wonderful to see you all here. Genesis is a community dedicated to love, inspiring harmony, and creating connections to empower spiritual growth. And we love that you are here to share in it with us. My name is Randy Singer, and I will be your host this morning. Our online host today is Cal, and I will be, let's see. There. Okay. If this is your, and I'm here. If this is your first time watching online, it gets better. Please comment on how you found Genesis and your name and anything else you want to say. But for now, let's please read with me our mission and vision statements. Mission. We are building a vibrant community, cultivating a garden of spiritual growth, honoring vulnerability, creating a safe place of comfort and peace where all are welcome and accepted. Vision. Genesis is a bright beacon with an unshakable heart of love, accepting all, a home for the soul where we each creatively express our spiritual brilliance. All right, announcements. Okay, after service today, Reclaiming Joy After Loss, from 12 to 1:30, join Cynthia and Diane in a caring, safe, and supportive environment for this amazing journey in mending your heart. Zoom link is in the What's Happening email from Monday. Back by popular demand, Cynthia Zink, practitioner, is offering the class Mental Equivalence starting Wednesday, July 10th from 6 p.m. to 8. This class is a leap into the state of true potential by activating the universal law of mental equivalence. For every formed thing in the universe, there is a corresponding mental image. Sign up now. genesiscsl.org/education or at the welcome table. Spiritual social justice sign up and information is at the welcome table. Take a few minutes to check that out. Rose Palmer, practitioner from CSL Seattle, is inviting all Genesis to walk in the Seattle Pride Parade next weekend on June 30th, 2024. This is a one day among a whole year where love is love. The location will be sent out. Please check your emails for details about this event. Christy Randolph is in the Mindful Eating group, is on hiatus for the summer. This group will reconvene in September. All right. We do a book study after service from 12 to 1. Drop in whenever you feel like it. We also have flyers for Sheila Kay's music video at the welcome desk. All right, there's a lot of announcements today. Becoming a spiritual practitioner info session. Have you ever thought about becoming a spiritual practitioner? Or have you been curious about what the path would be like? Join us after service on June 30th for a Q&A with Christine S. We'll have a designated table during our fellowship time to give you some information and answer any questions you may have. And if you see any of us practitioners, you can ask us too, and we'll tell you about how awesome it is. So.
Can I say something? You don't have to be a practitioner to be spiritual. There are people who've been spiritual all their lives and they don't have any of these titles. That being one of me, I am one of them.
That is true. We can be spiritual right here and right now, and just that's always available. Okay, so let's see. If anyone is visiting for the first time, we'd love to meet you and learn how you heard about Genesis. Is anyone comfortable with standing and introducing themselves? Do we have any new guests online to introduce? Okay, so we're glad that everyone is here today. If you'd like more information about Genesis, you can visit our website, genesiscsl.org, or talk to our greeter, Reverend Rose. All right, so now is fun time. We gotta stand and take a moment to greet those on either side of us.
I remember that from last year. No, that's all right. You're good. It's good. Glad to see you back here. Sunday. I can be something. That's right.
Okay, everyone's back. There'll be more time for that after service as well. Today our practitioner in service is Dave Pennick. After service, you can meet him in the alcove for prayer. I also want to thank everyone who's in the service today. So we've got Reverend Rose greeting, we've got Mike on projector and video, we've got Gideon doing the offering and collection, Jim is the sound tech, Cal is the online host, and our musical guest is Becca Palm. So, yeah. So after service, if you want to meet with Dave, he's available for prayer. And now, let's sing our centering song, Breathe and Turn Within.
I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I pray and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I sing and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. Let's do that again. I sing and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I sing and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I open up my heart and feel God's
How's everyone doing?
Great.
Great. Just kept going and going. I was like, all right. Well, today's reading is going to come from one of my absolute favorite books to read from. And if you don't have one of these books, I suggest you get it because, and the reason why I love this book is because it's got a reading and then it's got a little prayer. So it does all the work for you and you just get to enjoy its goodness. And so that is what we're going to do here today. We're going to enjoy the goodness of Creative Ideas by Ernest Holmes. And so I'm going to read from the chapter, The Gladness of Living. Affirmative prayer means that we clear the mind of all doubt and fear and turn into faith to the great giver of life. It means that we become aware of the presence of God within and around us, here and now. It means that we affirm this presence and accept it quietly, calmly, peacefully, in all of its fullness. We let go of every anxious thought, surrender every doubt and fear. We look out upon the world and say that it is our world, and it is a good world because it is God's world. In this knowledge, we receive confidence and inspiration from the source of all life, and divine life guides our every action. And so let us turn within. And so from Ernest Holmes, I now accept the domain which God has given. I accept the life Spirit has implanted within me, and this life reaches out to everything and around me in joy and gladness, and with blessed assurance that all is well. I affirm that there is nothing that can hinder me from entering into the fullness and completeness of my own self-expression and perfection of being. In this, I have a faith and a conviction and assurance that cannot be moved. For as a child of God, I am established in and surrounded by God's love. Only joy, happiness, and gladness fill all the days of my life. And so it is. And so now, the talented Becca.
Where I am, God is, and where I stand, God is standing strong.
Thank you, Becca. That was so wonderful. So today, we are ascending to higher heights. Our theme of the year for sermons is having a grand rising, a rising that incorporates our life and our spirituality into one, where we can encompass all, where we can really co-create a world that works for all. And this is Pride Month. And Pride Month, we are about holy boldness. And we've been talking about holy boldness. We've got the first week of June, our sermon talked about being bold, courageous, and brave. And we talked about Joan of Arc and how she changed the world. She changed the face of France, driving the English out by inspiring them. A teenage girl, a 16-year-old, did all this. And Agnodike was a Greek woman who 2,400 years ago made it possible for women to become doctors. When she found the male doctors were doing a terrible job of delivering children, she took it upon herself to learn how to be a doctor. And when her enemies tried to have her arrested, they instead ended up changing the laws so women could be doctors. 2,400 years ago, she was willing to put her life on the line for it, and it worked. Now we have women doctors, and things are much better than if we didn't. The second week of June, we talked about I am fired up and ready to go, which was the Obama, Edith Childs came up with that for all the Obama presidencies. And we found ourselves fired up and ready to go as we took the truth of that statement, that whenever we want to be fired up and ready to go, we can be by declaring that on our body, recognizes the truth of it, and we boldly go, we fire it up. And we talked about the Hajj. My friend Jawad went on the Hajj, and we sort of walked through what he encountered. Sadly, this week, it turns out that with 2.2 million people on the Hajj, too many people died because of the excessive heat. But I still think the Hajj is still a spiritual journey, and we can try to make it safer. The lesson for us is make it safer. Don't forget about people just because they bought cheap flights. They should still be able to have cooling shelters, enough liquid, and medical care. And then last week we heard from Dave about his wonderful dad, and we all set forth with our barbaric yelp to boldly claim that part of God that is in us. This week we're talking about higher heights. We're always growing and evolving in spirit. Our spiritual consciousness is always expanding and lifting us higher. We're tapped into the greatness of God expressing through each of us at every moment. And our affirmation is, I continually ascend to higher heights in my spiritual awareness. Let's say that a couple times together. I continually ascend to higher heights in my spiritual awareness. I continually ascend to higher heights in my spiritual awareness. And we're going to talk about 3 different ways we do this. The first is by having a vision. And the vision is beyond the beyond, beyond the rainbow. What is it we want in this world? How can we inspire, transform lives and inspire people to make a positive difference in the world? And whatever that difference is, it depends on you. It could be a world of equality. In fact, recent news is that Thailand has legalized marriage equality. Thailand's only the 3rd country in Asia to do so. Taiwan did it in 2019, and Nepal did it in 2023, and now Thailand. So the vote passed in the Senate. 120 senators voted for marriage equality, 4 voted against it. So it's overwhelming. So it's nice. Asia hasn't been the friendliest place for marriage equality, and now we're getting some outposts there. So it's nice to have that. So somebody had the vision of marriage equality in Thailand, and now it's passed, and it's the law. Once we have our vision, we want to, ascend step by step. That's where we want to go. Stair steps to heaven. We want to have what are our spiritual practices? What are our practices that bring us to our vision? And our vision doesn't have to be something in the world. It could be a personal goal. It could be just noticing the godness in us and bringing more of the godness to our everyday life. It could be bring more joy into our life. It could be, what it was for my grandson Q is he just graduated from kindergarten, but a few weeks ago it was sort of touch and go. It was iffy. He was very sick and he missed school. And this is, if you don't know Q, if you knew Q, you'd know that this is a tragedy. School is his very favorite thing. And while other kids are celebrating summer vacation, we have to find other school type events because he's such an extrovert and he's the class clown, so he knows how to get all the kids laughing. But he wasn't laughing. He had scabs all over his lips and sores all over the inside of his mouth, and so he couldn't eat, and he was in constant pain. And his mother brought him to the doctor, and the doctor couldn't really, whatever the doctor was diagnosing, it was not getting better. And then I came and gave my sermon about fired up and ready to go. And afterwards, I was talking with people about him and about prayer. I always talk about prayer anyway. And I remember talking to Dana. I think I also talked with several other people just about, Q's sick and, let's pray for him. And she said, I got a whole prayer group and he's on their list now. And it turned out at about that time, Q's mother brought him to the urgent care. And when the doctor gave one of past diagnosis that hadn't helped, she was like, no, that doesn't work. We've already tried that. And they ended up getting all the doctors in the urgent care to look at him and consider. And it turned out that he had 2 different illnesses. He had a viral problem and a bacterial problem. And that's why they couldn't figure it out, because it was too many symptoms. And so they got finally the right diagnosis. So there's my demonstration of prayer. Right diagnosis. Mom didn't even know. But then he was, even though he was suffering, he was moaning, he was crying, it hurt so much. But when we went to give him the medicine, and there were 3 different kinds of medicines we had to squirt into his mouth, plus topical creams, he started screaming, and he became petrified. And this is the part of the brain, the amygdala, or what we talk about in the whole brain living, the guardian. It's a part of the brain that's responsible for keeping us alive, for keeping us safe, for making sure that we live long enough to have kids. And because this is such an important function, the amygdala has the power to take over your body and take over your brain. You felt that fear, that panic, that sudden burst of anger, fight or flight. So that's what he was fearing. He was just he was feeling the fear, and he was fighting any efforts to give him medicine. And we didn't want to fight him, so we ended up trying to convince him, basically explaining to him about the amygdala. This medicine is going to make you better. This is how each one of the 3 medicines work, and they're going to make you better. And you need to take it every 4 hours, so it isn't a one and done. It's like every 4 hours it has to happen again. But because he was sort of embraced in a beloved community, a community, with his mother and grandparents and siblings all watching out for him, he was sort of safe, and we didn't force him to take the medicine. We tried to convince him that it was good for him. Well, he knew it was good for him. What was cool was to see him embrace his amygdala and talk to the fear in him and just be like, okay, fear, I know this is scary, but this is going to make us better, and so we have to be brave. And so the fear was able to be brave enough that he got the medicine, and then he pretty much went to sleep for 4 hours, and then woke up again and had to do it again. The fear didn't diminish, but he had confidence because he had the demonstration that he could engage with the fear and have the fear be brave enough just for a minute for him to get the medicine. And so he got the medicine, and each time he was stronger and stronger until he was able to go back to school just in time for his graduation. And so this was him, he knew the beyond the beyond. He knew what his goal was. His goal was to be healthy so that he could go back to school and make all his friends laugh. And he knew step by step what the procedure was. It was to find the bravery in his amygdala, to find the bravery, in himself so that he could go through the fear and take the medicine so he could get better. And of course, he had the beloved community, which he was well part of, and that we let him do this. So this was just a little example of somebody having the vision, taking the steps, and having the support of the beloved community. Harvey Milk is the next one I want to talk to. I assume everybody has heard of Harvey Milk, I assume. Harvey Milk Harvey Milk ended up, he grew up in an era of, where gays were invisible and where a lot of gay activities were illegal, and gays could easily be discriminated against, if not arrested, just for being who they were. Harvey Milk's grandfather came in 1906 from Lithuania to America and was happy. He was Jewish, his wife was Jewish, they brought up a Jewish family, and they were happy to be in a country where it wasn't, you didn't have pogroms attacking, trying to drive out the Jews, that they had relative freedom. And he worked hard and had a family and opened up a grocery store. So in 1930, May 22nd, 1930 was when Harvey Milk was born. And the reason I remember the May 22nd is in California, May 22nd is Harvey Milk Day. He did so much, they celebrate a whole day for him. So he grew up in the 1930s. He grew up in the grocery store. So he was in service all the time. He had the beloved community. He had the people coming into the grocery stores, and he greeted them, and he got to work and be helpful. And he really had sort of a hub of community that he existed in. Sadly, in 1944, the store was burned down in an arson attack. They never found who it was, but it was generally considered that it was somebody who didn't like Jews. And so they wanted to get rid of the store for that reason. But there was insurance. They built back the store. And Harvey Milk went to high school, where he found himself running for public office. And he really liked running for office, even though he lost every time. It didn't dampen his enthusiasm for the debates, for the shaking people's hands, for the greeting people, for the coming up with the platforms. He had a vision where people like him were visible, and he was very visible in his school. When he went to college, it was called the Albany State Teachers College then, but it was State University of New York, Albany is what the same college is called now. And he got a degree in teaching, which was also this. All of these turns out to be stepping stones to, you know, what Harvey Milk ended up doing for us. So he became a teacher, and then because the Korean War was going on when he graduated, he joined the Navy. He became an officer, and he was a diver. He ended up winning a bunch of medals and was a master diver and a lieutenant at the end of the Korean War. And then he went and became a school teacher for a while. He worked on advertising in Madison Avenue, and I can just imagine him, you know, coming up with ad campaigns, doing all the designs, figuring out what's going to make people excited about your product. In 1972, he moved to San Francisco. Now, one of the things that had happened in his whole life, he was not only Jewish, but he was gay. And he didn't want to hide his gayness, but what appealed to him about San Francisco is it seemed who you are, to be treated equally like a person. And he opened up a store called Castro Camera. And this was sort of, I think, his version of his grandfather's grocery store. It was where everybody hung up. When you had your pictures, you bring them to Castro Camera. In some of the camera stores, they would edit your pictures, they would censor your pictures, and he'd give you the very best pictures of whatever you brought in. And so this was, you know, in a time when a lot of the things they took pictures of were illegal, it was good to have a place where it was safe and where you were well known. He was a community center of a community hub. When you came into San Francisco, if you went to Castro Camera, he would find you a place to live because he knew a bunch of people who needed housemates. He would find you a job because he knew a bunch of places that needed workers. So he had that whole beloved community hub going in Castro Camera. He kept running for city council and lost a lot of times. And then something changed when a Teamsters union gentleman showed up. And when the Teamsters showed up, what they wanted to do was, there were a bunch of beer companies that did not want to hire union workers. They thought the union workers made too much and the working conditions were too good. They wanted, no, it was too much money. I don't know why they wouldn't hire union workers. But they talked to Harvey Milk and said, will you support our boycott of beer companies that don't support union workers? And he said, well, will you make sure that gay people can get jobs in the Teamsters and are eligible for all the jobs? And they said, yes. So they had an agreement there. And what Harvey Milk did was he'd go and he'd get the local TV station to follow him into a bar. And at the bar, he would, at the bar, he would ask the bartender, you know, are you willing to support the union and boycott these non-union beers? And they always said yes with a TV camera shooting in their face. And so soon there were no gay bars anywhere in the San Francisco Bay Area that weren't boycotting the different beer companies, and one by one they all signed the Teamsters union. So he was learning how to make friends. And after this, the next city council election, he got elected onto the San Francisco City Council. He was one of the very first gay people elected to any sort of public office in America. He was, I think he was the very first gay man elected to a public office in America. So, but another thing happened in 1977. A state senator in Southern California, John Briggs, decided it was time to make it illegal for gays to teach in school. And this was Proposition 6 was what they called it. But it was, the way it was worded, it was like anyone who was gay or lesbian or was sympathetic or who believed gay and lesbian people should have equal rights would be banned as school teachers. And not just school teachers, they couldn't have any jobs in schools. And Briggs did this because Anita Bryant had done something similar in Florida. And so he thought, I can do it in Florida, I can do it in California. And Harvey Milk really came alive. He debated Briggs, he went around the state to talk to people about this. He reframed it and pointed out, if you had such a law, you wouldn't just be getting rid of gays and lesbians and people who believe they should have equal rights, but you would create an atmosphere of fear where people could have rumors that, maybe you weren't straight, maybe you did think this, and you'd lose a lot of really good teachers by rumor and innuendo, and you'd have a school ruled by fear instead of by the desire to educate our children. He ended up getting Governor Ronald Reagan to support, not to oppose the initiative, to support equal rights for gays, the former Governor Jerry Brown, and even President Carter. So he became a national political figure in opposing this amendment. So in that way, John Briggs did him a favor. It's interesting, I was living in California during the vote, so I got to vote against Proposition 6. So it's nice to be on the right side of history. So he defeated Proposition 6. Sadly, he ended up being assassinated by a disgruntled former superintendent, Dan White. But he had said, he actually suspected, like Martin Luther King Jr. and like Jesus, he knew that there were people who wanted to kill him, but he wasn't willing to step back from his life, step back from what was right. Just because of that, he was going for it. He was like, well, what he said was, if I'm killed, let that bullet smash every closet door. If I'm killed, let that bullet smash every closet door. He wanted people to be safe to come out. But before he was killed, he actually had he accomplished equal rights in the city of San Francisco. As city councilor, he got to support an equal rights law that made it so that nobody could be discriminated against in housing, in jobs, or in public accommodation for anything about their sexuality. And this, of course, is, it's a law of the land now, but it wasn't then. It was sort of weird back then. I didn't know that I had any gay friends because everyone was afraid to say anything because they could lose their jobs. They could lose their housing. They could be banned from stores. So it's nice when they changed the law. It made it more reasonable. You didn't have to be so fearless to step out of the closet. He also, of course, helped with laws about pro-union laws, about laws to increase affordable housing, improve public transportation. He ended up winning a Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously. Barack Obama, I'm all fired up and ready to go, and gave him a Presidential Medal of Freedom. So this is, you can see that he had the vision. He had a vision of a world where nobody had to be in the closet, where everybody could be open about who they were. That you didn't have to hide things. You didn't have to fear losing your job, losing your housing, not being able to go shopping. So that was his vision. Step by step, you could see he loved running for office. From very young, he was in that store, every day after school and all the weekends. He was serving people. He loved being in the hub of attention. He loved being in the center of his beloved community. He loved serving people, and he created a beloved community wherever he went. I think that's why he did so well in the Navy. Everybody wanted to be one of his divers because he would treat you well. You had the support of all your fellow divers. And of course, he had his beloved community in Castro Camera, and was building one in the city council, but it came to a close much too soon. But as that bullet smashed all the doors. There are not laws here, that keep people from being who they are. He hadn't imagined marriage equality. He wasn't thinking that far. He saw the next step. I'm sure that would have been his next goal. So right now, I want to do a little bit of closed eye meditation. Let's put our hands on our hearts, get ready for meditation, and let's breathe into our hearts and exhale from our hearts. Thank you, Becca. As we breathe in, let's us feel appreciation for our beloved community, for those in our lives who have brought us joy. For that joy, for that connection, for that love. And as we feel the appreciation, we notice it fills our hearts, and it overflows from our hearts and fills our bodies. And then we notice it goes from our bodies and connects us to everybody who's with us. Everybody in the room and people at home. We know that when we're in our hearts, we're in a state of eternity. We are beyond time and space. We're in the timeless present. And so you are here with us now, and we are with you. We can feel the love, the openness, the appreciation, the gratitude from everybody's heart in the room as they can feel our love opening onto them. And so allow yourself to rest in that love, to lay back into it, to feel that appreciation. And now allow your awareness to move down to your feet. Imagine connecting deeply into the earth, knowing that we are all creatures of the earth, we're all beings, part of the earth, connected to all other living things on our beautiful planet. And we feel this planet sustaining us, and we feel ourselves sustaining this planet. This fragile biosphere is devoted to us, to our lives on its surface, as we are devoted to keeping our biosphere, to keeping our earth safe and happy and healthy. And now we move our awareness from the earth into our bellies. If you feel like it, you can put your hands on your belly. And this is the center of God being us. This is where creation and creativity takes place. This is where the universe is manifesting itself in every present from that center of creation, we move up again through our hearts and into our heads, where we feel a vibrant stillness. And we can stay in that vibrant stillness, or we can open the top of our head and move out through our crown into the mystery of God beyond us, the mystery of life and death in the universe, the vastness of existence. And now we move our awareness back into our bodies, into our hearts. And in our hearts, as we feel that love again, that gratitude, we can see God and the universe as our biggest supporter, as the most loving, supported, devoted parent ever, as our best friend in the world. And we can sincerely ask if there's a gift for us. And once again, we breathe into our hearts, move our awareness back into the room. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So, thank you for that. I'm glad to have that chance to open to all that, for the appreciation, that people like Harvey Milk showed, but also that, the bravery that my grandson showed. I'm very impressed with Q, that he could, when surrounded by a loving family, by his beloved community, he could face that fear and take, the probably awful tasting medicine, get better. And so this is our boldness. Our boldness doesn't have to be brash. We can have quiet boldness, in the quiet of our house, moving, accomplishing our goals. And we can have, open, in-your-face boldness like Harvey Milk, making sure everybody knows that, we need equality, we need equal rights, we need to treat everybody in the society well, because otherwise, what kind of society is it? And so let's say again, I continually ascend to higher heights in my spiritual awareness. I continually ascend to higher heights in my spiritual awareness. One more time. I continually ascend to higher heights in my spiritual awareness. And that is so. I see each of us going out in this day, in this month, ascending to higher heights, whether it's improved health, whether it's more time with beautiful babies, whether it's enjoying the weather, or going to the parade on Sunday, next Sunday. We can all make a positive difference. We can all inspire people to make a positive difference in the world. So thank you for that.
So are we getting together here and then going to the parade, or how is it going to?
So that's next Sunday.
Yeah.
And
So we can talk about it.
We can talk about it afterwards.
Oh.
yeah,
Okay.
but there will be a way. And there will be a rendezvous point. So now I'm going to talk about our prayer cards, which everybody has. If you're at home, you can find a way to pray on the website. But I want you to first look at the prayer demonstration. And I know I'm going to write in my prayer demonstration, you know, the powerful prayer that got my grandson Q the correct diagnosis by holding the doctor's feet to the fire. So by writing that demonstration, you solidify, you make the prayer more powerful as it comes from you, more likely. So yeah, now we will have more beautiful music from Becca.
As we feel into the freedom that comes from all the boldness. We're free to live in the fullness of the Spirit, boldly moving forward, and everywhere we go, we're free to live, to know life there's always for us, guiding, serving, teaching.
is for me. It's guiding, serving, teaching me that I'm complete and whole. Yeah, it's guiding and serving and teaching me I'm complete and whole.
Thank you so much, Becca. That was awesome. All right. Well, just know that our center is supported by God, and we welcome to be a part of how God's support shows up. If you are on Facebook, you can visit our website at genesiscsl.org, or you can text your tithe to 206-800-7595. Let's take a moment to grasp our financial gift. And our offering next to our heart, and consider offering blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and I am thankful. And now we'll come around and collect our offering in our prayer cards, and we will sing "God is my source."
God is my source, God is my power. God gives me everything I need, so I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power. God gives me everything I need, so I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
So with open hearts we receive these gifts, knowing that fruits come forth to powerful works. We bless the givers, and that as we give, we receive tenfold. In deep gratitude, we give thanks. So thank you for joining us today. Please join us for food and fellowship, and it is Opulent All-Stars. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Opulent All-Stars, for the food today. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I got that correct. Let's all stand and sing our closing song.